Ladies and gentlemen, close your eyes for a moment and breathe. Let's just pause, right here, right now, and feel what it means to be present. Because what I'm about to say is not just meant for your ears, it's meant for the part of you that's been waiting, that's been preparing, that's been praying for a sign. God is about to shock you with your breakthrough. Now, before your logical mind tries to filter that through the lens of old experiences, past traumas, disappointments, and patterns, pause, because this isn't about what has happened. This is about what's about to happen. And to receive that, you have to step out of your memory and into the unknown. You see, breakthrough doesn't happen when you keep recycling the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same actions. That just recreates the same version of you, and the same predictable future. But you weren't born to live a predictable life. You were born to be astonished by what's possible, and that astonishment is coming. The power that created this universe, that breathed galaxies into motion and designed every cell in your body with divine intelligence, is not limited by your circumstances. It is not limited by what your bank account says. It is not limited by the diagnosis. It is not limited by your past, but you have to step into alignment with it, and that begins not with struggle, but with surrender. Surrender your resistance. Surrender the story that says, this is just the way things are. Let go of the identity you constructed from pain and start living from possibility. You are not your history. You are your destiny waiting to unfold. And right now, in this very moment, you can begin to feel that destiny with the power of your attention. Because where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Feel what it would be like right now to be free, to be whole, to be abundant, not someday, not when the conditions are right, but now. Embody the emotion of the breakthrough before it shows up. That's not wishful thinking, that's creation. This is the language the divine understands, not begging, not desperation, but coherence. When your thoughts and emotions align with a future reality rather than your present circumstance, that's when the quantum field responds. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you to believe, to feel, to tune into the version of yourself that's already broken through. So if you've been in a season where it feels like nothing is happening, let me tell you, everything is happening, under the surface, in the field, in the unseen realms. All of it is conspiring on your behalf. You are not late, you are not forgotten, you are right on time, and I'll tell you this, the moment you truly let go of how it's going to happen, you make room for something greater than anything you could have imagined. Because when that moment comes, and it will, it won't look logical, it won't look predictable, it will look like a shock, the kind of shock that rearranges your life, the kind of shock that leaves you in tears because you realize, this was always meant for me. That's what's coming. So open your heart, raise your frequency, live today as the person who's already received what you once only hoped for, because that breakthrough, it's already on its way, and it's going to shock you. Breakthrough begins where predictability ends. Most people live their lives inside a loop, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, and repeating the same actions every single day. This repetition becomes so familiar that it creates a personal reality that feels inescapable. But here's the truth, as long as you remain in the familiar, you cannot experience anything new. Predictability breeds stagnation. It keeps you tethered to the past, and it convinces you that the future will be nothing more than a slightly altered version of what's already happened. That's not breakthrough, that's survival. To experience true transformation, you have to step beyond what is known. You have to venture into the unknown, the space where your senses no longer guide you based on memory, but where your spirit begins to lead you based on possibility. This is where creation begins. It's uncomfortable because the ego fears uncertainty. It wants to cling to control, to outcomes, to routines. But transformation doesn't occur when you're in control. It occurs when you surrender to something greater than your current identity. The predictable life feels safe, but it's often just a well-decorated cage, and your breakthrough, the one you've prayed for, worked for, visualized, is not waiting in that cage with you. It's waiting on the other side of the fear that tells you to stay put. It's waiting in the quantum field, where new choices, new energy, and new outcomes are possible. When you choose to think a thought you've never thought before, feel an emotion you've never let yourself feel, and act in a way that reflects your future rather than your past, you interrupt the old pattern. That interruption is the spark of your breakthrough. You must feel the future before it arrives. This is one of the most powerful principles of conscious creation. Most people wait for something external to change in order to feel better, waiting for the relationship, the job, the healing, the breakthrough, believing that once it arrives, then they'll feel joy, freedom, love, or peace. But that model is backwards. Waiting to feel the future keeps you anchored in the past. It keeps you reacting to life rather than creating it. The truth is, your emotions are the energetic signature you're sending into the field. When you feel lack, you're signaling lack. When you feel unworthy, you're reinforcing unworthiness. That vibration communicates with the invisible intelligence all around you and pulls more of the same into your experience. But the moment you begin to feel elevated emotions, gratitude, love, abundance, before there's any physical evidence, you're no longer living as a product of the environment. You're becoming the cause of a new environment. To feel the future is to step into alignment with it now. It's not pretending. It's not wishful thinking. It's training your body to believe that the future you envision is already real. The body doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you emotionally embrace your future before it happens, your physiology shifts. Your brain begins to rewire. Your energy field changes. You become a magnet for new experiences that match the emotion you've cultivated. Most people stay stuck because they keep feeling the emotions of their past and expecting a different future. But the future doesn't respond to your old emotions. It responds to the emotional frequency you broadcast now. Feeling the future in advance is how you draw it closer, faster, with coherence and intention. God is not limited by your circumstances. No matter what the current facts of your life look like, debt, illness, heartbreak, delay, they are not the final authority. They are temporary expressions of past energy, past choices, and past beliefs. They are not the ceiling of your possibility. The divine intelligence that breathes life into everything you see is infinite, unbounded by human conditions, and not subject to the limitations of your current situation. What we call a miracle is simply what happens when the spiritual realm overrides the physical, when the unseen breaks into the seen. The problem is that most people build their expectations based on what they can observe. They look at their bank account, their relationships, their job status, and they conclude, consciously or unconsciously, what is possible for them. But God does not consult your resume. God does not need favorable conditions to move. The laws of the divine do not bend to logic, they supersede it. What looks like a wall to you is only a doorway in the hands of higher intelligence. Your circumstances are data. They are not destiny. They are snapshots of where you've been, not forecasts of where you're going. Unless you continue to believe they are. The more you identify with your limitations, the more you reinforce them. But the moment you begin to expect the supernatural within the natural, you open yourself to a realm of solutions that your mind can't comprehend. That's where faith begins, not in hoping for better outcomes, but in knowing that divine power is unrestricted, unconfined, and fully capable of transforming any situation. The key is getting your internal state into agreement with that truth, not waiting for the facts to change, but allowing belief to rise above evidence and reshape it entirely. Your attention is your creative power. Wherever you place your focus, you place your energy, and where your energy goes, reality begins to form. Most people live in a scattered state of mind attention, constantly pulled in 100 directions, reacting to distractions, social media, news, problems, and fears. This fragmented focus drains power, weakens intention, and leaves them wondering why nothing in their life seems to change. But when you learn to direct your attention deliberately toward the life you actually want, you begin to access one of the most profound creative tools available to you. Your mind is not just a place where thoughts happen, it is a command center, and attention is the signal that tells your brain and body what to prioritize. When you obsess over what's missing, your biology aligns with lack. When you focus on fear, your nervous system tightens around survival. But when you give your full attention to a vision, a dream, a future reality, especially one that elevates your spirit, you begin to form neural pathways that make it more and more real with each passing day. Your body starts preparing for a life that hasn't yet happened but will. Sustained attention is the key. It's not about wishful thinking for a few minutes. It's about returning again and again to that future vision until it becomes more familiar to you than your past. This is how the subconscious begins to reprogram. It doesn't respond to intensity. It responds to repetition. The more you focus on what you want to create, the more your energy begins to organize around that reality. The field around you picks up the signal. Possibilities rearrange. Life starts showing up in ways that mirror your focused internal world, not your scattered outer one. Attention, then, is not passive, it's a form of spiritual architecture. Surrender resistance to activate transformation. Most people believe that breakthrough comes from pushing harder, striving more, or doing everything in their power to force change. But real transformation doesn't happen through force. It happens through flow. Resistance is the energetic tension between what is and what we wish to be different. It creates inner friction, emotional stress, and mental turbulence. And the more we resist what is, the more power we give it. Transformation begins the moment we stop fighting our current reality and instead align with a higher one. Surrender isn't about giving up. It's about letting go of the illusion of control and making space for divine intelligence to move through you. It's the conscious decision to release attachment to outcomes, to release timelines, and to stop demanding that life unfold in the exact way you imagined. When you surrender resistance, you return to the present moment fully. You no longer carry the weight of the past or the fear of the future. You enter a state of receiving. In that state, the nervous system relaxes, the heart opens, the mind clears. You become coherent. And coherence is the signal the universe responds to. While resistance keeps your energy entangled with the problem, surrender elevates your energy into the realm of solutions. When you let go of needing things to change in order to feel peace, you begin to feel peace now, and that peace becomes the fertile ground for change to occur naturally. The spiritual path is not about doing more, it's about becoming less rigid. It's about dissolving the mental structures that keep you locked in fear, control, and limitation. The more you surrender, the more space you create for the unknown to arrive, and the unknown is where all transformation lives. You are not your past, you are your potential. Every memory, every wound, every mistake you've made may have shaped who you are today, but they do not define the full scope of who you are becoming. The past is only powerful when you continue to carry it with you, when you allow it to color your thoughts, emotions, and choices. Many people unconsciously live their lives from the lens of history, replaying the same stories, defending old pain, and expecting new outcomes. But true transformation happens when you realize that your identity is not fixed. It is fluid, and it can be rewritten. The brain is not hardwired for permanence. It is constantly adapting, rewiring, and responding to the environment of your thoughts and emotions. If you keep feeding it the emotions of regret, fear, or unworthiness, you reinforce the neural architecture of your past self. But the moment you begin to embody new emotions, curiosity, confidence, peace, you signal to the body and brain that a new future is unfolding. Potential is not found in reliving the story of who you were. It's found in the decision to show up today in a completely new way. You can't create a new life while clinging to an old identity. That identity may have been necessary to survive, to protect, to make sense of past experiences. But it's not required for your expansion. Who you truly are is the awareness behind those stories, the consciousness that observes without judgment, the spirit that knows there is more. Your potential is vast, not because of what you've done, but because of what you are inherently connected to. And when you begin to shift your sense of self from what happened to me to what is possible through me, the past loses its grip, and the future begins to awaken. Coherence between heart and mind attracts the miraculous. When your thoughts and emotions are in alignment, you create a signal that is clear, strong, and unified. This signal is what interacts with the field around you, drawing experiences and outcomes that resonate with your internal state. Most people live in incoherence. The mind wants one thing, but the heart feels fear, doubt, or unworthiness. This creates a mixed signal, and the result is often confusion, delay, or stagnation. You cannot attract wholeness while broadcasting fragmentation. The heart is not just a metaphorical center of emotion. It is an intelligent organ that generates a powerful electromagnetic field, one that is measurable and significantly more influential than the brain's field. When your heart is open and your emotions are elevated, gratitude, love, compassion, you enter into a state of harmony. When your brain is focused on a clear intention and your heart is feeling the emotion of that future already fulfilled, you step into a coherent state of being. That coherence is the access point to higher intelligence, deeper intuition, and accelerated manifestation. Incoherence happens when you try to mentally force outcomes without emotional alignment. You might visualize success but feel unworthy. You might pray for healing but remain emotionally attached to the story of pain. These contradictions weaken your signal, but the moment you bring your emotional and mental states into unity, you become magnetic. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to come to you. Coherence is not effortful. It is natural when you quiet the noise of fear and enter into presence. In that space, the mind serves the heart, and together they act as a tuning fork for miracles. The more often you live in that state, the more the miraculous becomes your new normal. The divine responds to alignment, not desperation. Many people approach prayer, meditation, or manifestation from a place of lack, fear, or emotional urgency. They plead, beg, or demand answers from the universe while internally vibrating at the frequency of doubt or scarcity. But energy doesn't lie. The divine intelligence that governs creation is not responding to the words you speak as much as it is responding to the energy you embody. When you approach the divine in desperation, you reinforce the very separation you wish to overcome. Alignment means your thoughts, emotions, and actions are congruent with the reality you desire to experience. It's not about trying to convince the universe to give you something. It's about embodying the belief that what you desire is already real in the unseen, and you are simply aligning with it so it can flow into the seen. Desperation implies disconnection. It carries the energy that something essential is missing. Alignment, on the other hand, reflects the understanding that nothing is missing, and that creation unfolds not from effort, but from resonance. To align is to attune yourself with the frequency of what you are calling in. If you desire peace, you must become peaceful. If you desire abundance, you must begin to feel and live from a state of abundance internally. This is not pretending. It's energetically matching your present being to the future reality you are ready to receive. The divine doesn't operate on emotional panic or mental pressure. It responds to coherence, to clarity, and to elevated emotional states. When you are aligned, there is a calm certainty that replaces the noise of striving. You no longer try to chase or control outcomes. You begin to trust, and that trust is not passive. It is magnetic. Alignment activates divine timing and unlocks access to infinite possibilities. The unseen is orchestrating your visible breakthrough. What you perceive in your physical reality is only a small fraction of the larger story being written behind the scenes. Most of the time, we only focus on what we can see, touch, and measure. We think that our circumstances define us and that the lack of external evidence means nothing is changing. But in truth, the unseen world is far more active than the one we can observe with our senses. The universe is constantly in motion, working behind the veil to align the forces, circumstances, and people necessary for your breakthrough to manifest. Every moment, new possibilities are being created by forces beyond your understanding. The thoughts you think, the feelings you embody, and the energy you project all contribute to the unfolding of your life. The quantum field is a vast web of interconnected potential. When you change your internal state, you send out new instructions into the field. What you focus on, even if unseen by the physical eyes, starts to rearrange the world around you in subtle ways. The universe is working to bring things into alignment with your vibration, even if it doesn't immediately appear so. Your breakthrough doesn't happen in isolation. It involves a complex orchestration of time, space, events, and people. There are things in motion right now, behind the scenes, that will show up in your life when the timing is right. It's easy to get discouraged when we don't see results immediately. But just because you don't see something happening on the surface doesn't mean nothing is occurring. You are co-creating with a universe that knows exactly what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, and how it needs to happen for your highest good. Trust that the unseen is setting the stage for what's about to unfold. Your breakthrough is already on its way. It may not be visible to your eyes right now, but that doesn't mean it's not on the horizon. So often, we measure success, progress, or change by what we can see in front of us. And when things don't materialize right away, doubt creeps in. We begin to question whether it will ever come, and sometimes we lose faith in the process. But the truth is, every shift you make internally, the new thought, the new belief, the elevated emotion, has already started a chain reaction in the universe that is unfolding in your favor, whether you see it or not. Just because you can't see the breakthrough today doesn't mean it isn't already being set into motion. In the same way that seeds are planted in the ground and don't immediately sprout above the surface, your desires are growing in the unseen, preparing for the moment when they will rise up and take form. There is divine timing at work, and while you may not fully understand the process, the universe is aligning the right circumstances, the right people, and the right events for the moment when your breakthrough will reveal itself. The fact that you're not seeing results today doesn't mean they're not coming. Your breakthrough may arrive in a way that shocks you, unexpectedly, from a direction you hadn't anticipated, or in a form that is even better than you imagined. You are not late, you are not forgotten. Everything is unfolding precisely as it should. When the time is right, the breakthrough will come, and it will be more than you ever expected. Keep believing, keep growing, and keep aligning with your highest vision, because what you've been waiting for is already on its way to you.